Hey everybody, it's John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope, live with you here on Facebook Live, John Hope Bryant Live channel. I'm back from Chamonix, they call it there Chamonix, France, speaking there. If you can, you should go there. It's in the French Alps and experience a new culture and new people and a new experience for yourself, for your family, and new people and a new environment. It's always good to grow by trying new things. And it doesn't have to be that expensive, by the way. You can take a train through most of Europe for very expensively. Once you get on the continent, you can buy a coach ticket these days at a reasonable price, certainly if you get it in advance. But just always try to expand your mind. Good morning, Sydney Gant. Good to see you. Good morning for Atlanta from Terrence Jackson. I'll try to continue to acknowledge some of you as you sign on. I may do two videos today, but certainly I want you to know I'm going to do one on U.S. Army checking in, retired on the way, Ronald Lloyd White. This video is for everybody, a global message. Good morning, Cliff Hayes. I will do a video. I was asked to do one on the Black Wall Street. I'll do that either later today or sometime this week. Good morning, Roy Allen Maroy. So this video is entitled "Just Do It." I cannot overstate enough. Good morning, Nisi Williams. I can't overstate enough how important it is to get your head straight. And if you pull up on the internet, good morning from Michigan, Jimmy Ridley. Pull up on the internet a graph I created from my last book, How the Poor Can Save Capitalism. I'm sorry. So John Hope Bryant, Chairman CEO of Operation Hope. Good morning, Lester Hightower. Pull up How the Poor Can Save Capitalism, Rebuilding the Path of the Middle Class. That's a book I wrote, bestseller. I'm Chairman and CEO of Operation Hope, the largest nonprofit financial services network in the country. Over $2 billion invested in underserved communities. Hi, Latanja Millhouse. Over 2.6 million clients. Many of you are clients of Operation Hope, helping people help themselves, teaching them how to fish, not just giving them a fish. Hello, Gail Benson. Helping people to help themselves. We are the largest of what we do in the country, and one of the largest by virtue of being the largest country in the world. In fact, we have not met another peer-like organization, Operation in the world. But go to the book I wrote, titled on our work, which you can find on the internet, called How the Poor Can Save Capitalism. That's sort of the third benchmark in the series of civil rights doctrines I'm giving you to help you help yourself. I'm writing the fourth one now. But there's a graph for free. Go on the internet right now and get this graph. Good morning, Sheila Sanders. Go and get this graph called the Hope Doctrine on Poverty. It says that half of all poverty is low self-esteem and lack of confidence in yourself. If you don't know who you are by 9 in the morning, by dinner time, somebody's going to tell you who you are. That's why I keep hammering on self-esteem and confidence. If I don't like me, I'm not going to like you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not going to feel good about you. If I don't respect me, don't expect me to respect you. If I don't love me, I won't have a clue how to love you. If I don't have a purpose in my life, owning the pond, good morning, that's right, Matthew Hammond. If I don't have a purpose in my life, and I think about our communities now, Yolanda Frazier just say it, if I don't have a purpose in my life, I'm going to make your life a living hell. Whatever goes around, comes around. Good morning from Philadelphia, Duha, I believe is her name, beautiful name. So what am I saying? If you're black and brown in urban America with no purpose in your life, you're a danger to yourself and others. If you're my white brothers and sisters in rural America with no purpose in your life, you're going to be a threat to you and everybody else around you. It's wherever you are in the world, Africa, Asia, India, this is not race specific, it's situation specific. And the most dangerous person in the world is a person with no hope. I talk about the Hope Doctrine on Poverty. Print that out, put it on your wall. All right? I'm going to start talking about the wealth piece in my next book. But I want you to print that out and put it on your wall because it's so critical to you avoiding the pitfalls of failure Because whatever you've been told about failure and poverty are wrong. Poverty has nothing to do with money. Ebony, get it up. Ebony Butts says, get it up. I got it up, I think Ebony says. So I think Ebony's going to print that out and put it on the wall. It's so important. Poverty has nothing to do with money. I know this is very radical, but I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with money. I came from Compton, California, and South Central Los Angeles. How do you find your purpose? Yolanda, I'll do a special piece on purpose and passion if you like. This video is very targeted this morning. Unfortunately, because I only have limited time, and so do you. Let me unpack poverty very specifically, and then talk to you about this topic today, which is just do it. So half of poverty, low self-esteem, and lack of confidence in yourself. And while this applies to everybody, money is consciousness, James Dinsmore says. Why this is so important is why everybody has problems. When white America has a headache, black folks have pneumonia. It's just twice as bad for us. Why is that? Because blacks were the only people enslaved on American American soil. And I think after 250 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow ending in 1970, not 1870, 1970, I think that 70% of black Americans are probably clinically undiagnosed depressed. Period. I mean, I think that anybody would be crazy or at least depressed after being told for so long you can't do anything. So this video applies to everybody. If you're Hispanic and watching this, it applies to you. If you're white and watching this, it applies to you. If you're black, my dog Bishop just decided to weigh in, it applies. Anything left to, I guess the negative ills is what you said. Thank you for being you. This is Vincent. Thank you very much. So it applies to everybody, but it certainly applies to people who are really almost has PTSD. They're in a negative environment, compounded by a negative environment on a continuous basis. And so that's why I want you to not be angry for a living. That's why I want you to regain your response to life, not your reaction to life. A riot is a reaction. Anger is a reaction. And hurt people, and now you're starting to hurt yourself. But to think from the neck up is a response, not a reaction. It's a response, not a reaction. I came from Compton, California, South Central LA, with no trust fund, no fancy history, no rich parents, and I made it on my own and built a global enterprise on the principles I'm now sharing with you. There's no magic sauce here. There's no pinky dust. It's just simply what I'm telling you. Half of all poverty is low self-esteem and lack of confidence in yourself. It's like starting a race with no track, Latonya, Latanja Millhouse says. Correct. The second part of poverty is crappy role models and a crappy environment. So why do kids, we must fight to live and choose to be heard, Duha says. So why do kids in urban neighborhoods want to be rap stars, athletes, and drug dealers? Because all they see is symbols of success on a continuous basis. Are rap stars, athletes, and drug dealers. The kids aren't dumb, they aren't stupid, they're brilliant. They're modeling what they see. We have to give them something different to see. Otherwise, they'll just continue to model what they think they need to be, which is what they see right in front of them. People are creatures of habit and in their environment. Okay, the fourth part of poverty, there's 6 parts. This is the second quartile. The first quartile, 50%. This is 25%. The last part's 25%. All this is in the Hope Doctrine on Poverty, by the way, that I want you to print out for free, put it on your wall. The second quartile of the second quartile, or the fourth part of the second quartile of the Hope Doctrine on Poverty, is environment. As I've said so before, Letitia Morris is true. I think it's Lena Morris. We need role models in our community, Roy Allen says. Absolutely. So the fourth quartile, or the fourth part of the second quartile says environment. What do I mean by that? I mean if you hang around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. I mean that whatever you model, you see, and whatever you hang around, you'll be. You hang around 9 surgeons, guess what you want to be? You hang around 9 fit people, guess what you want to be? You hang around 9 overweight people, guess what you want to be? You hang around 9 brilliant people, guess who you want to be? You hang around 9 business people, guess what you want to be? You model what you see. The third quartile, the last quartile, the fifth of the 6 pieces is aspiration. Aspiration is a code word for hope. The most dangerous person in the world is a person with no hope. And then you get around to opportunity. But now if you have crappy self-esteem and crappy crappy self-esteem and crappy confidence, crappy role models in a crappy environment. You don't really have hope. You don't aspire, you don't believe. Now you see the glass of opportunity is half empty, not half full. Get that? See, it's the same glass. If you hang around 9, you'll be the 10th. That's what Brent got out of that. Exactly. So once again, big bro, you're on it. Tell Mom said hi. That's Kevin Woods. I will. Thank you, Kevin. I think he's talking about my mother, Juanita Smith. Is the glass half full or is it half empty? Well, it depends who's looking at the glass. It's just that simple. Is it half full or is it half empty? Depends who's looking at the glass. It's the same glass, but whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to hit this topic really hard. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. So I can't convince you to succeed or aspire if you've already told yourself you can't. If we have a bunch of urban kids in America and rural kids in America and kids around the world and kids in the Middle East who've chosen to take a militant stance with some nutcase terrorist group or something, they've given up hope. They don't think anything's for them. They've chosen dope. They've chosen the streets. They've chosen another family called a gang. They've chosen a terrorist act. They've chosen to see not a light in the distance that's a candle. They've seen the light as a train coming their way. They're not lighting a candle, they're cursing the darkness. Those are all choices. It's how you respond. Do you respond from the neck down, rioting, beating somebody up, anger? Or do you respond from the neck up, being thoughtful, responding, not reacting? So what does this all have to do with the topic? Christopher responds that they're in Atlanta. Fantastic. Make sure you go by the Hope Inside location at Ebenezer Church, Dr. King's original church, or one of my other locations here in Atlanta. So when the memo is on the shelves, I'm buying it for a few members of my family. They need this message. That's Rick's. And Rick's, I think, helped me pick the title for the book. So thank you, Rick's. So just do it. Why is it so important? Because you can't do anything I just said if you can't get your mind around what poverty really is and what wealth really is. Wealth is the opposite of what I just described to you. And wealth has nothing to do with money either. I know you find that hard to believe. But if I have this quote at Operation Hope. There's a difference between being broke and being poor. Being broke is economic, but being poor is a disabling frame of mind, a depressed condition of your spirit, and you must vow never to be poor again. If I give a homeless guy $1 million, he'll be broke in 6 months. Because nothing changed here, nothing changed here, nothing's going to change here. Those things are all connected. So thoughts are things. As my friend Robert Brewer said, poverty is a mindset, Christopher. It is a mindset first, absolutely. Is there sustenance poverty, which means you can't pay your rent, you don't have a roof over your head? Absolutely, and I have complete compassion. And people, I think it's 3 billion people on the planet and plus live on $1 a day. I have complete compassion for real sustenance poverty. That's not what I'm talking about right now. There should be a basic dignity of people having enough food and shelter to live. I'm talking about once you've got that point, then how do you succeed up the ladder and not get yourself frustrated every day? The memo that I'm going to deliver, the 4th doctrine of the civil rights movement, will help you with that a great deal. But you've got to get your head straight because nobody wants your drama. Let me come back to the topic. Even you don't want drama in your life. Even you don't want negative people. I have succeeded because I have a just do it mindset, basically. My #1 trait is I'm persistent. I never, ever, 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 ever give up. I started doing these videos, and I did one, but then I didn't feel like doing it the next day, but I promised you, then you would start to not have faith in me. And then the next week I didn't feel like it, or the next week of that I decided to go on vacation, but I didn't want to take the camera with me, and I didn't want to deal with that. So after a while, you say, this guy's not real. He has no authenticity. He doesn't invest in me. He's not consistent, right? Anything that's not consistent in your life, you can't depend on. If you don't consistently show up for work, they're going to fire you. By the way, I would too. As much as I may like you, I would have to fire you. And you fire yourself too if you ran a business and the employees didn't show up on time. That's not racism or some kind of racket. That's not capitalism run amok. That's somebody trying to run a proper business and expect you to show up for a paycheck, right? Let's just cut the chase and start talking common sense. All Operation Hope is a radical movement of common sense, and civil rights is the aspirational mission behind that, that's fueling that. So I've done these videos. I haven't checked the stats recently, but last time I checked it was like 12 million views in less than 6 months. because I have a relationship with you and I made a commitment to you and I'm staying consistent with that, you come to depend on that, and now we have a relationship in this mutual faith and confidence. And there you go, right? That was created in 6 months' time. What can you create in 6 months' time based on you being consistent and showing up in life? So I didn't want to get on a plane last Friday after I gave a speech at Treasury, Washington, D.C., to go to Europe. Sounds fancy and whatever, but I really would prefer to have gone home and worked and rested. But I made a commitment to my friend Philippe Bourguignon that I would go and speak at this conference of his. And I'm glad I went, right? It was a lot of benefit for the people there and the people of Operation, but I was exhausted, right? And when I showed up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, people thinking on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the French Alps, I'm going to be relaxing. No, I had to get dressed and go give a speech. 2 hours later, I showed up at 2 after traveling 20 hours and had to give a speech at 5 o'clock and be on, right? And then go to a dinner after that. Just do it. Payrollers do. I can't say to my employees I don't have time to make payroll. I got to just do it. No one else is going to do it for me. No one's going to save you but you. I had to just do it. I have appointments today at 1 o'clock, starting at 1 o'clock. I have myself scheduled. Get up. No matter what time I went to bed last night. Get up this morning. Feed Bishop because he needs to eat. He's not concerned how late I stayed up last night. I've got to do this interview with you. I already worked out this morning. I've got to write on my book. Got to get some essential emails out and some messages on my business platform out to my staff, employees. Make sure everybody has their assignments for the day. I've got to write on my book for 90 minutes. I've got to make sure I back into my 1 o'clock appointment, which is very important downtown, by making sure that I have showered and all that kind of stuff and gotten dressed, which means I need to do that at least an hour before that appointment because they're not concerned about what else is going on in my life. I can't say to them at 1:30 that I'm a half an hour late because I'm busy. No, they're busy too. You got to just do it. You got to just show up. And by the way, here's a big one. Don't let the best be the death of the good. I have many friends of mine that want to wait for a perfect situation. Well, I'm not ready yet. Well, the world ain't ready yet. Well, nothing's perfect. Well, the world's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. There is no perfect. Well, I need a little bit more preparation. No, you don't. That's just fear. Just get up and do it. And a saint is a sinner that got up. And a half of an effort that's executed is better than a full effort that is still in your head and hasn't gone anywhere. You've got to understand the currency of action. Fear is a punk. And even the devil is a lazy SOB. And they are counting on the fact that you're not going to get up today and take control of your life. They're counting on the day they can put little negative energy in your mind, tell you what you cannot do, tell you what's not possible. I can't tell you how many things I've achieved in my life simply because I just had made a commitment and backed into that commitment and made sure if I had to stay up to 3 in the morning to keep my promise, I just did it. It might have been imperfect. Sometimes just sending an extra email before I went to sleep, all right, I was ready, I was done for the day, but I promised somebody I was going to send them a note, just an email, hey, just checking in with you. That person then responded, hey, I was thinking about you. Can you call my office tomorrow and talk about investing in Operation Hope? What if I had not sent that note? Or, doing a deal on real estate here in Atlanta, and it's been going on now for a year. I thought the deal was going to take 30 days. Negotiations have been going on for a year. I had to ping the person recently to remind them that they were supposed to send me something 3 months ago. What if I got upset, said that was some bias, or they didn't want to do business with me, or screw that, or whatever? Well, that person's like, oh man, I've just been so busy. Yeah, we're very interested in this. I'm on it now. But I had to continue to ping them, send them notes, and follow up. Persistence is more valuable than a superior education, a superior intellect, more knowledge. Hustle and persistence will run circles around even PhDs. And I've got a PhD in hustle. Bobby, you will want to rewatch this when you finish this later with good nuggets. That's Brent Jones. He's talking to a friend of his. So get off your rear end. Stop complaining about how bad life is. Life is horrible. And now what? Life is unfair. And now what? Life is the playing field is unlevel. And now what? And if you're a minority or you're a woman in society, understand this. You've been doing so much with so little for so long, you can almost do anything with nothing. You've been doing so much with so little for so long, you can almost do anything with nothing. And by the way, that makes you better. That makes you not better as a better person, it makes you better as a competitor. It makes you more resilient. It gives you more fight. It gives you more stamina. It gives you more intensity. It gives you more consistency, persistence. It means that you can run the race faster than your competitor. So why is that a negative thing? I'm so glad that God made me who I am. I'm so glad that I was not born rich and wealthy and prosperous with a trust fund, because I'd have been lazy. I'd have sat on my rear end. I'd have been taking trips on the Riviera on some boat, and not concerned about you or society. And by the way, I died a rich person that nobody cared about, with a lot of trinkets and toys, and depressed. I don't have as much money as I could. That's fine with me. I could be making 15 times more than I make now on Wall Street, but I chose to do this work with you. And I have to work my tail off to have the quality of life I want, because I don't get that from Operation Hope, the organization I founded, rightly so, because 81 cents of every dollar at Operation Hope goes to help empower my clients in my neighborhoods. I'm proud of that. We're a 4-star charity navigator organization, the best rating you can get for a nonprofit. But that means that I have to find other ways to augment my income. No problem, just do it. Whatever it is, just do it. Just get up and take control of your life. And that's why I keep hammering on mental poverty. And that's why I say this is new slavery. It's not shackles on your arms or on your legs. It's shackles on your mind, your spirit, your soul. It's people who've told you can't do so much. Now you are telling it to yourself. Just watch the comments on some of my videos. It's not from the Ku Klux Klan telling you can't do something. It's not from some rich foreigner telling you what you can't do something. It's from people who look like me saying, F that brother, screw that brother. He's a Uncle Tom, whatever. By the way, that. It's just stupid, right? It's Reverend Murray. Happy birthday this week, by the way, Reverend Murray. Love that man. That's a man you should look up, Reverend Cecil Chip Murray. Raised me in my adult life. He said, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to that's important. And never answer your name. And to argue with a fool proves there are two. I added that last part. So I tell you what's going on, just so you know, I pay attention. I don't actually pay attention to the good news. I only pay attention to the bad news, right? I'm oblivious to most things around me because I'm focused on my goal, and I'm not defined by either. I'm not as good as my compliments. I'm not as bad as my critics. I am who I am, but I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm reasonably comfortable in my own skin. That allows me to stay focused on my mission and to move forward. Just do it. Am I perfect? No, but neither are you. So these critics they're not talking to me. They are trying to justify why they should not succeed in their life. Why they should, because if they can believe what I'm saying, they've got to reject at least half of the crap that they've been believing in their life about who's holding them back and why they can't succeed. It's convenient to be a victim. Am I saying you are not a victim? No, people are victimized every day. I'm saying it's convenient to be one. But no one cares, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to save your own life. That's the bottom line. You cannot subcontract hustle. Good morning, John. Derek Smart. I love that name, Smart. So my message today is very simple. When you get up in the morning, you're either a lion or a cheetah, a lion or a gazelle. The gazelle gets up knowing that they have to be faster than the slowest lion or they will be eaten. Faster than the fastest lion, they will be eaten. The lion gets up knowing they got to be faster than the slowest gazelle or they won't eat. You get that? The gazelle gets up knowing he's got to be, or she's got to be faster than the fastest lion so they don't get eaten. The lion gets up knowing they got to be as fast as the slowest gazelle or they won't eat. But one thing is sure, when you get up in the morning, you better be running. That's an old African proverb, but it is so appropriate, right? I'm going to leave you with a quick story about hustle. And again, I can't underscore enough. There's nothing more powerful than hustle, than not getting up, giving up, and just getting into the arena of life. Send that email. Follow up on that business card somebody gave you. Don't focus on the no's, focus on the yeses. I take no for vitamins. I don't care if 9 people told me no yesterday. One person told me yes. That's what I celebrate. One person told me maybe. That's what I celebrate. You cannot give in to depression and lack of belief in yourself. Here's the story. It's a story that I got from the UN when I was a UN ambassador. Guy in Africa on his porch next to a lake. He's just sitting there chilling. Guy from the UN comes up and says, why aren't, you fishing in that lake? He says, well, why do that? Keep in mind, it's better to teach a man to fish than just give a man a fish. Teach him how to own a lake, right? Okay, that's what we say. Okay, now think about cousin boo-boo now. Everybody got a cousin boo-boo. White cousin boo-boo, black cousin boo-boo, Asian cousin boo-boo, Latino cousin boo-boo, Indian cousin, everybody got a cousin boo-boo. Brother won't just get up off his tail, right? So here's the deal. And by the way, he's got children. Children are watching him. He won't even get off his tail as a role model for them. Call it what it is. So brother's on his porch chilling. Been chilling all day. UN rep comes up, hey man, I got some manuals here, whatever, I'm Operation Hope, whatever, screwed up country. I'm here with you to help you help yourself. Why don't you fish in that lake? It's right in front of you. The guy says, why do that? He said, well, you did that. You could catch some fish and buy a boat. Well, why do that? Okay, well, if you caught some fish and bought a boat, you could go fishing some more and catch some more fish. Well, why do that? Because if you caught some more fish, then you could buy another boat and you could hire your friends, give them a job. Well, why do that? He says, because if you did that, then you could buy 8 boats and you could employ the whole town. Well, why do that? He said, well, if you bought 8 boats and employed the whole town, then you could be wealthy and you could sell the company and you could relax for the rest of your life. He says, I'm already doing that. I'm already chilling on my front porch doing nothing. See what I'm talking about? We got to not be our own worst enemy. We got to understand you're living in a moment in history right now. But history never feels historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out. This is civil rights, unbought, and unbiased, coming to you nonpartisan. It's not about the PA. It's not about the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. It's about the Get It Done Party. I'm gonna do a video just for that too. This is coming to you straight and no chaser with no agenda but your uplift and your empowerment. We call it civil rights. Civil rights was in the streets. Civil rights was in the suites. Civil rights was about race and the color line. We still need it, but we also need civil rights about class and poverty. New color is green, ladies and gentlemen. Not white, black, red, brown, or yellow. It's green. If you're a black man hating a white man, you're wrong. If you're a white man hating a black man, you're wrong. You can take no pleasure from the fact there's a hole in my end of our boat. You can take no pleasure from the fact there's a hole in my end of our boat. We're all in this thing together. If America fails, we all fail. If South Africa fails, if you're there, you all fail. If you're in Tanzania and Tanzania fails, you all fail. If you're in Mexico and the country fails, you all fail. Wherever you are, you're all in this mess together. You all have to work together to create success. You either succeed